Hi everyone, thanks for joining us. We're just going to wait a couple more minutes. It's just gone 10 o'clock and we will get started in a second. Okay, great. This has gone 1 minute past, so I'm going to start. Thank you everyone for joining us. Welcome to today's webinar, which focuses very much around how businesses can access up to 35% towards the cost of commercial support. We will have colleagues from two different programs, two different opportunities for businesses to engage with. Some of you may already have engaged with one, but not the other. It's an opportunity for colleagues to showcase what you can get involved with as a business, what the offer is, and then at the end of the session, we will have a Q&A section. If anyone has any questions as people are talking through the different offers and the different programs, and please do put them either in the Q&A function or the chat function. And what we'll do is we'll come to them at the end. I will pose them to our presenters, and then we will take it from there. We will also make sure copies of the presentation get shared with everyone that attended. And again, if anyone has any further questions that they want to engage with anyone on the webinar with, then we will make sure that our details are there for you to be able to get in touch. So I'm going to start. We're going to move straight into my colleague, Lisa Ashby-Dowling, who is a commercial broker at Growth Platform. And what she's going to do is talk you through the New Markets 2 ERDF programme. Thanks, Lisa.
Okay, thanks, Hannah. So yeah, as Hannah mentioned, I'm part of the team at Growth Platform, working directly with businesses to enable them to access different types of business support. So I work with partners across the city region who can offer different types of support, and I specifically work on a programme which offers funding, which Hannah referenced, and that's funding towards commercial services. So the New Markets 2 programme is a European funded programme, and it has a range of delivery partners, each offering a different type of support to help businesses grow. And it's targeted at businesses in the city region looking to grow. And it really depends on the type of support that a business requires. Because the support from the delivery partners is all funded from the same pot, a business can really only have one project supported, so really can only work with one delivery partner. So we've got some information here and also on our website about the different offers. And what I'll focus on today is the Growth Platform offer, which is the grant funding. So the Growth Platform New Markets 2 programme is a grant towards professional services. So we tend to be the option that businesses go for when a business is looking maybe at a project which is more bespoke to the business, and one where they're looking to choose their own supplier to deliver that piece of work. We've got an example there of the different types of services that we have been able to part fund through this programme. And basically what we provide is a grant of 35% of the cost of these types of activities. But really it's a case of thinking, if you as a business are going to bring in a professional, a consultant or an agency to work on a project that's going to help grow your business, then that's the type of thing that we can part fund. With regards to health and life sciences businesses, we've had quite a few examples of where we've supported businesses in that sector. So we do work with businesses across all sectors, but particularly for health and life sciences, we've been able to provide grant funding towards a marketing and PR campaign for a new product. And that project was both strategic and delivery of some of the marketing activities as well. We've worked with businesses who are looking to acquire accreditation or a certification. And for example, one that we're working with at the moment is ISO 13485. So that's actually for medical devices. And again, we're providing grant funding towards the cost of that. With regards to video production, there was a company that had a product that they were looking to get used more so in the care sector. And the video that they got produced was really around a training video for their clients. So really to help with adoption of using that product in the right way. And another business within the health and life sciences sector actually wanted a bespoke CRM developed to link in both with their website, but mainly to look at making their internal operations more efficient. So it's very much a case of, as I said before, what does the business need to help it grow? And if that involves an external support in the form of working with a consultant or an agency, then potentially that's the type of thing we can part fund. With regards to eligibility, there's two aspects to the eligibility for the New Markets 2 growth platform funding. And that one relates to the business, one relates to the project. So for the business, they need to be based within the city region. The business already needs to be trading and generating a revenue. It can't be used for setup or startup costs. The business cannot, at this moment in time, when they're applying for the funding, actually have committed to begin working with their supplier. And that's because there's a procurement as part of the process, which I'll come on to shortly. And as I mentioned before, there's a range of delivery partners under the programme, the New Markets 2 programme. So a business cannot have already received or New Markets 2 support with one of the other delivery partners. With regards to the project, again, you can't have begun the work. It needs to be something that is a project that's got a defined start and end, and it's not something that you've actually begun yet. And the programme is due to finish at the end of this year. So what we're looking at is projects that will complete by the end of November. And because there's a limited amount of funding in the pot remaining for this year, we're looking at projects that cost between 3,000 and 7,000, and that's excluding VAT. So in terms of the process, it's quite a straightforward process, and I'm one of the commercial brokers at Growth Platform. There's my colleague Paul Radcliffe, who also works on this programme, and our role is very much to help you and guide you through the process at the different stages. So the first stage is an application process, simple application form, and that really is to confirm what I mentioned before. It's to confirm both the business and the project eligibility and to have that evidence on file that they meet the eligibility criteria. The next step is procurement, and we have some templates agreed with the funders that businesses can use. So after the application, the business will scope out what the project is and define exactly what they're looking for from a supplier. We can then publish that requirement on our website, and businesses can then seek to get quotes from suppliers. So during that procurement process, businesses will need to receive at least 3 quotes from suppliers and set a closing date. The closing date needs to be a minimum of 10 days. The request for quotation needs to be open for at least 10 days for suppliers to provide quotes. And by the closing date or deadline that the business sets, then you will have at least 3 quotes, and you will review the quotes and choose who your winning supplier is. Once you're able to confirm who your winning supplier will be, we will then provide funding confirmation in the form of a grant funding agreement. And that's your legal confirmation of funding. You can then begin the work and work with your supplier on the project. Once the work is completed to your satisfaction and you've made the final payment to your supplier, you can claim the grant. And as I say, that process is very much supported by myself or my colleague Paul, and guide you through the different steps and what's required at each stage. So in terms of finding out more information about this programme, you can actually access the details on our website. So from the Growth Platform website, there's a section called Programmes and Funding, and on there you'll find details of the New Markets 2 programme as a whole, which includes details of our other delivery partners, the New Markets 2 programme, specifically the Growth Platform funding, and then also other programmes, including Health Matters, which is what my colleague Andy Cairns is going to talk about just now.
Good morning. So I'm Andy Cairns. I'm the Commercial Programme Manager at the Innovation Agency. So the Health Matters programme, it's an ERDF funded programme. So we started in 2019 and we're just in the process of having that extended to June 2023. So our remit very much is around helping companies in the Liverpool City region that are interested in working in the life science area. So it's a very broad spectrum really, that sort of, if you're interested in health, outcomes, social care, then pretty much most companies can touch the NHS. So within the NHS, it's across the UK, it's 1.5 million people work in the NHS, one of the largest employers in the world. I forget where it ranks now, 4th or 5th. And also has a budget of around 150 billion pounds. So it's a massive organisation. And the Innovation Agency, along with the Growth Platform and our partner, Liverpool John Moores University, is here to sort of help you navigate the way through that. So the actual sort of, the reason for its existing is really to help and accelerate the engagement of SMEs into working within that health sector. So you don't necessarily have to be a med tech company to be able to work on the Health Matters programme. You might have a product that helps parking. So obviously parking is a major concern for patients and staff within the NHS. So again, it's a service that you might think it could be repositioned to help the health service. So we're here to sort of help and sort of navigate the way through that. So we can have the next slide, please. So it's very much about sort of working with companies in the Liverpool City region that want to engage within that health sector area. So we're probably working with 50 plus companies at the moment, and within the programme itself, we can sort of help to support 80 to 90 SMEs over this period of time. So it's really just trying to make you aware of the offer. So the Innovation Agency is what's called an academic health science network. So we're publicly funded, we're part of the NHS, and we get our money from, as I say, NHS England, the Office of Life Science, and we've been successful with European Regional Development Funds. So it's very much that business support. If we can have the next slide, please. So these are some of the sort of practical things that we can do. Unfortunately, we don't have any direct funding that we can assist you with, but it's more helping you navigate your way. So you can be from an idea stage to having a commercial product that you maybe want to reposition, or that you need to have additional market access into the NHS. So working with the NHS can be quite a challenging environment. It's risk averse. So when doctors, medics are being trained, it's sort of do no harm. So it's very risk averse. It doesn't do change very well, but that's one of our skill sets that we have, is to be able to help work with you as an SME, or if you've just got the idea at this stage, we're happy to sort of have those early stage conversations, test out the sort of validity of your value proposition, what your business case is. So these are things that we can help build with you and develop, and it's good to have that sense check at an early stage to see that you're on the right track and there are people to help. So the Innovation Agency's got now in excess of 50 staff members, so they have a background. Some of them are clinical, some have a commercial experience, some have a transformational ones there, coaching side. So we have a varied set of skills that we can help with. So one of the main things is to try and navigate the NHS, because it is a bit of a different beast to what you might have worked with in the private sector or say local government. So there is a crossover with some of the things that we do in social care, but it's very much here to help and assist you, understanding what the procurement routes are, developing the business case. So to help with that process, we run some programs called Excel into Health. So these are 8 1-hour sessions, 1.5 hour sessions, and we're going to run another course from probably late October, running over an 8-week period. So if that's something, you don't have to sign up to all the webinars, but again, if it's something that sort of interests you, or there's a particular area, so if you are trying to understand procurement processes within the NHS, then that's something we can do. And we do, at the end of the session, we do some practice pitching with some commissioners and clinicians sometimes that we can get on board. So you actually get your opportunity to pitch your idea, your proposition, your value proposition, sort of 3 to 5 minutes, and then get some constructive feedback on where you are and what would be the next best steps for you. And we, as I say, we run that from sort of probably October onwards. We're also in partnership with Liverpool John Moores University. If you've got some data, one of the biggest challenges working with the NHS is to show that your product has evidence and that it works, it's cheaper, quicker, better, safer than what's currently in the marketplace. So we're working with Liverpool John Moores University to do what's called real world validations, is to see that it says what it does on the tin, really. These aren't randomized controlled trials, they're not with sort of drugs, but it's just seeing that it does work, and you've got some evidence that helps you to put your case forward, to develop that, because it is a sort of challenging environment, and we're here to help and assist, and that's something that we can sort of offer. And we also have some online Moodle courses that are running from the end of September. So again, these are sort of commitment of about an hour a week, an hour and a half a week, running over a 6-week period to help develop what your value proposition would be. So in summary, very much here to help companies that are interested in working in the health social care sector that might not have worked there previously, and we can sort of develop those business cases, provide business support, and if you're at a point where you need real world validation, then we can work with you and Liverpool John Moores University. And also we can highlight some of the funding which is available within the growth platform, and some of it that is specific to the NHS sector, so whether that be Innovate UK or SBRI, Small Business Research Initiatives. These are things that we can help with. So very much here to help. My details, I think, are on the website, but I'm sure the slides will get circulated afterwards. And I think back to Hannah now for some Q&A.
Yeah, thank you, Andy. And thank you, Lisa. They were some great presentations, nice and clear what the opportunities are for our businesses. We have had a couple of questions come in. So the first question is for you, Lisa. So obviously you mentioned that the New Markets 2 programme finishes at the end of this year. There's been a question around, will there be another similar programme like this in the future? I don't know if you have the answer to that at the moment, but...
We actually, well, at the moment we've applied for an extension to the New Markets 2 programme. So we haven't been confirmed, it hasn't been confirmed that would happen. We're hopeful, but we're not, we can't bank on it yet. What we do know is if it is extended, the likelihood is it will run till June 23. However, it may not start until, I don't know, sometime next year. So there could actually be a gap. So at the moment, we have to work on this pot of funding that we've got, which needs to be spent by the end of the year. And then if we get an extension, it will be a new pot of funding, but we're not too sure when that would start if we get the approval.
Okay, great. And I guess the best thing for businesses to do then would just be to keep an eye out on that growth platform website, keep an eye out in the newsletters for all of the information as and when that comes through. Yeah. Brilliant, thank you. There is another question, again, I think also for you, Lisa, in relation to New Markets 2. So if somebody's already got a consultant in mind for a piece of work, can they still apply for the programme?
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest with you, probably whether a business has got a preferred supplier in mind or not, the process is the same. And maybe 2 out of 5 businesses that we work with have got a preferred supplier. The other 3 don't know who they're going to work with at the beginning. So the process, which involves that procurement stage, really what the funders are looking for is for the business to be able to evidence that they have made an informed choice on their supplier, so that they've gone out to market, they've got some quotes, compared how different suppliers might approach the piece of work, what they might charge, and as I say, made an informed choice on their supplier. And that's where the templates that I've mentioned that we had agreed with the funders, the templates really help the business evidence that to satisfy the funding criteria. So yes, if they've got a supplier in mind, then yeah, in some ways it maybe helps them go through the process, but either way it's the same process, and that's fine if they've got someone that they know that they think actually they're the ones they're going to work with.
Okay, great. And then we've just had a question come through now, actually. So there's a question around, is there any capping on the funding? Does that get capped at any limit? Which I think you might have mentioned in the slides, Lisa. Yeah,
so because the programme's coming to an end this year, we have a current cap on the project size of being £7,000. So the grant will be 35% of the project cost. When we, I suppose earlier on the programme, we were able to look at maybe larger projects, which would be maybe 10 or 15,000, and that's 35%. But it's just really, we're in this period at the moment where we have only got a limited amount of funding left. So it's really to enable businesses to access that. If we get the extension that I mentioned, then there's potential, but again, we don't know. We might be able to go a little bit above the £7,000, but again, that's not guaranteed.
Okay, no, that's great. That's really helpful. Thank you. And then just the final question here. So obviously we've got 2 different ERDF programs that are being talked about here. There's a question around, can you be signed up to more than one ERDF program at any one time?
Yes, you can, as long as you've not had more than sort of €200,000 of support over the previous 3 years, then that tends to be the qualifying benchmark for ERDF programs. So yeah, you can have multiple ones there, but obviously you have to sort of declare what support you've had previously. Okay, that's brilliant, thanks. And then Andy, there's a couple of questions which I think are connected to sort of health matters. Okay. So there's someone here they've never worked with the NHS before, and they're keen to understand how they could get involved. Well, just yes, speak to me, drop me an email on those ones there. Happy to have a conversation. So yeah, it's a journey to go on to work with the NHS, but yeah, there are opportunities there and challenges, but yeah, just drop us a line and we can have a chat offline. Brilliant. Okay. And then the final question that I think has come through, again, Andy, I think you touched on this. So there's a question around, is there any further funding that can be applied for? Well, there are various different ones. So Innovate UK have ones. There are quite a few charities that have little pots of money. The AHSN Academic Health Science Network sort of link into what's called the SBRI. So there's currently a call out around net zero carbon and sort of restore and recover from sort of COVID. So that's a very wide brief really, and that's funding in the sort of first phase. It can be up to £100,000. So we're happy. We won't write bids for people, but we're happy to sort of critique and help and work with companies that want to submit bids. So that's one, as I say, Innovate UK ones. NIHR, National Institute of Health Research. So if it is specifically a health one and you need some research, you might be working with a university partner. So again, we can link you in and help support you with those funding bids. Brilliant, thank you. Great, well, oh, hang on, something else has just popped up. What is the timeline for application evaluation? I assume, Praveen, that's linked to the New Markets 2 programme. So, okay. Yeah, Lisa.
Yeah, we've been able to, in terms of turning it round from a business submitting an application to receiving their grant funding agreement, the quickest we've been able to do it is probably about 3.5 weeks. Because what we allow for is the business obviously submits their application and then drafts their requirement that they need to publish and advertise. Suppliers need a minimum of 10 days to respond to that. So some businesses, depending on the time of year and depending on the type of project, some businesses might put it up for 2 or 3 weeks or whatever. But as long as it's a minimum of 10 days, that's fine. And then after the closing date, the business needs time to review the quotes and complete a scoring sheet, which is just a 1-page scoring sheet, but they need that time to do that. When we get the confirmation of who the winning supplier is, then we issue the grant funding agreement. And as I say, from application to issuing that grant funding agreement, we've been able to do it in about 3.5 weeks. It does depend on the business being available to do the tasks that they need to do. And once they receive that grant funding agreement, they can start the work with their supplier.
Fab, thanks, Lisa. Okay, so I think we will bring the session to a close. I know we only had 30 minutes, so we've done very well to jam all of that information in those 30 minutes. I think key takeaways, obviously, New Markets 2 is a fantastic opportunity for local businesses, but there isn't a lot of time left. So if you do want to engage with that programme, you definitely need to be thinking about getting in touch over the next few days. And in terms of Health Matters, obviously, there's some of the things that Andy mentioned there. Excel into Health, and again, keep an eye out on all of the social media channels, newsletters, different bits and pieces for how you'll be able to sign up to that, and also the opportunity with the Moodle that exists within the Innovation Agency as well. So keep an eye out. What we'll do is we will send out the presentation to everyone who's attended the session, and obviously if anyone has any questions, then please do feel free to get in touch with us at Growth Platform. Thanks again to our speakers, and thanks everyone for joining us. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.